We shoot you straight. This is Joey. With me as always, Steven.
Man, it's been a while, Joey.
It's been a little bit, man.
Yeah, a little bit, but we're back.
We are back, and we're back with some good stuff. I love this time of year. We're deep into the playoffs for the NFL. We're down to 4 teams, and we're just going to talk about the matchups that happened this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to start with the defending champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, at home, hosted the Houston Texans. The young quarterback in his second year, C.J. Stroud. D'Amico Ryan's led team that came in there to KC. I think the score ended up being like 23-14, but I really felt, Steven, this was a much closer game than the score would, the final score would let on. But I don't know, my thoughts on this game, Chiefs, Mahomes, they got it done again, but a little bit of controversy, I got to be honest. I watched the whole game, and there definitely were some pivotal calls or calls that were questionable that definitely changed the momentum in certain drives and definitely went into the favors of the Chiefs. And, I just got to bring it up. I can't lie or pretend. That's what we do here, is shoot you straight. And I got to bring that up. I think it had an effect on the game. I think if I'm the Houston Texans, I don't hang my head at all. I thought they had a very good game. The defense was, I thought Will Anderson Jr. was the best player on the field that day. He had some really nice, he was in Mahomes' back pocket all day. But once again, Mahomes is in the championship game. Pretty amazing. I know you saw it, Steven. Your thoughts on the game?
When it comes to I agree with you. I don't think Houston should hang their heads on the game. I think, after the game, you saw a lot of comments about what was the calls that were made and everything.
Right.
My thing to that is it's just the NFL that we have now. I hate to say it. I hate to, this is not the game that I kind of grew up on and loving. The quarterbacks got hit, they're free game, But now it's almost like basketball, where Mahomes is going to get the calls.
Right.
Like Jordan or LeBron most likely get the calls. He's going to get calls. He's going to, it's hard to flop in NFL, but there's some flops there. You saw him take advantage of it and everything. And I think at some point it does take away from the game. It's just unfortunate. It is what it is, but I mean, these are the rules now. I mean, this is why we pay these quarterbacks, how much money we do when they're making $50 million a year, is because they need to be protected. They're like the full quarter of the game.
Absolutely.
And so it just really does suck that it is that way, but I think there's been worse calls in championship games before, and but I think now we're moving on with Kansas City and trying to three-peat. If you're Houston, I think it's just something you can build on and understand that for the next year, where you need to come in and make a statement. And
right,
it's hard not to let the refs be a part of the game, but I think you know what I mean. You gotta do your thing.
I agree with that. I'll just say it again. Houston, you shouldn't hang your head. Of course, we know they've been riddled with injuries. Stephon Diggs tore his ACL, out for the year. Of course, we know Tank Dell, another prominent receiver on that squad, dislocated his kneecap about a month ago. And they still played pretty well. Like I said, Will Anderson Jr. was in that backfield all day. I think Juju Smith-Schuster, DeAndre Hopkins, Isaiah Pacheco, none of these guys had a reception. So Houston did a lot of things well. It's just, a hard place to go in, to say the least. Kansas City to go in there and win a playoff game. It was cold. But I like where Houston is going with this defense and C.J. Stroud. Joe Mixon's been a nice addition to that team and has allowed them some stability in the running game. Then you bring everything back and run that thing back. Houston, you're going to be just fine. KC, here we are again in the championship game. They're going to need a little bit better output against Josh Allen and the Bills next week, because I just think that, Josh Allen and the Bills, they're battle-tested. They're very familiar with KC, and they're tired of playing, second place. Man, they're coming, Steven. They're coming this week. It's going to be a dynamite game.
They are.
Yeah.
All right,
let's move on to the next game. Man, we had after that game, we had the Washington Commanders, which is really the talk of the NFL, and the rookie Jayden Daniels, who's having a phenomenal season. He is now 2-0 in his first 2 playoff games. Yes, he went on the road to Tampa Bay and was able to get past Baker Mayfield and the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes to the road on Detroit, Stephen, who I thought, I'm going to be honest, I thought I gave him like a 10% chance to win this game. 10%.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit has probably been the best team all year. They won 15 games. They've only lost to 2 teams, and both those teams are playoff teams, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
They had a phenomenal year, but it was really a bad day for Goff to have one of his worst days. But I don't want to put the focus there. Steven, I just think this young rookie, Jayden Daniels, we haven't seen anything like this. I mean, as great as a season as C.J. Stroud had last year, that's in the rear view, man. This kid is doing just phenomenal things. I think he threw for 290 yards with 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Also ran for 51 yards. Put up 45 points. It would have been 48 had the kicker not missed that late field goal in Detroit. I mean, it just doesn't get any more big time than this. I'm just there's no other way to say it, man. I'm in awe of what I'm seeing, and I think me and the rest of America can't wait for this championship game against Philly next week.
Definitely. You know, I think I stated this before. I'm a huge Washington fan, and for them to be in this game is just like, wow. It's very cool to be a fan and seeing them have this resurgence this year to win 12 games,
Yes.
to be in the NFC Championship game again. You know, because to be honest with you, beginning of the season, I didn't think we were going to get that far. We had players and coaches that no one wanted. Again, we had different ownership. Everything was just so brand new. And for them to just really come in at this year and to change the culture, to change just the mentality of this team, has been just awesome to see and awesome to be a fan of.
Nothing short of amazing. Keep in mind, this was a team that won 4 games last season.
Exactly. And then, you know, to bring up another thing where, like, you know, you don't get excited too much because you don't really, you understand that you have a Heisman Trophy winner, you have, you know, some talent or whatever.
Right.
But like I said, you bring in all these other people that no one wanted, like a Bobby Wagner, Zach Ertz, Eckler, and you have all these young talent that you have around you. So you're not really expecting much. You know, there's not that big player like some other people have, where it's quarterback,
playmaker,
or like a Saquon, or
right,
you know, a DK Metcalf, or just something of that nature. So to see them where they're at now is great, and I'm just so happy about it. I'm looking forward for it to be Philly. You know, we tied it up 1-1. But, you know, let's not get away from it. I think with Detroit, if I'm being very honest, I think there's a multiple of things. One is their injuries. I think that's been no secret for them this whole year. They've dealt with a lot of injuries. And that's about up to you, Joe. I just feel like they were overconfident, I feel. They were 15-2. They ran through the NFC
regular season.
Basically regular season. And, you know, they caught the comments from Dan Campbell where he told Kevin O'Connell, I'll see you in 2 weeks. And just the mentality maybe that they had, that this is where they're at, this is what they're supposed to be, and everything's just going to fall into place for them this year. And I think it was just this game was a bit of a wake-up call that no, you still have to earn it. You still have to go out there and go and get it. And for Washington, I hope that they continue this. You know, don't get overhyped with this game. Don't get overhyped with what you just did, because, you know, I feel it's tangible. I feel it's tangible that we can beat Philly.
I agree.
When we beat them towards the end of the year, when they had Kenny Pickett, we still did it. I felt we did a great job against stopping Saquon, and I feel that's the key to this game, stopping Saquon and making Jalen Hurts beat us. But, man, I'm just happy to be a Washington fan right now and just enjoying the moments.
I hear you, Steven, and I'm happy for you. If you don't know, Steven's been a long-time Washington fan since the 80s when they had Darryl Green, and they haven't been relevant in a while. He never wavered. He's a diehard, loyal fan. It's really nice. It's kind of surreal to see him doing so well. And to piggyback what he's saying, this is a very tangible win next week, possibly in Philly. Look, Philly's been hot. They've been winning a lot of games. But they haven't necessarily been blowing people out, you know. And Saquon Barkley, man, he's been the best player that's not a quarterback in the league. I mean, just amazing today. So, you know, your first line of defense should be stop Saquon Barkley. The second should be stop Saquon Barkley, stop Saquon Barkley. That's really what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. And then they got a puncher's chance, maybe even better than that. So I'm really intrigued about this game. Could Jayden Daniels continue to ride that hot streak out, protect the football,
Mm-hmm.
good play calling, switch it up, defense, keep things within range? Who knows what happens? I mean, we could see a rookie quarterback in the Super Bowl. That's not a stretch. And that would be phenomenal, to say the least.
Exactly.
We'll see how that plays out.
And we're talking about Philly. We can talk about their game. Philly and the Rams with the last game.
The last game today.
Joey, I thought the teams played great. I don't think any team played bad. I don't think it's anybody's fault. I think just Philly just had a better day. And you saw those two great runs. It was big runs from Philly that really did it.
Right.
Jalen Hurts run and
Early in the game.
and Saquon's run. I mean, I think that's just what really killed the Rams. I thought they did a bang-up job on defense and what they could do. In the end, I just feel Philly came out ahead and
I agree, Steven. Look, Rams fans, I know you're disappointed you didn't get the W, but as Steven mentioned, you really played good in all three phases of the game. Special teams, Williams was able to run the ball. Matt Stafford didn't turn it over, had over 300 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, the game was right in grasp. I mean, Jalen Hurts, I think, only threw for like 120 yards today. That's it. It was really the big runs by Hurts early in the game. And, of course, the long touchdown runs by Saquon Barkley. I really think Saquon put this team on his back and single-handedly won it for Philadelphia. Other than that, the Rams played a heck of a game. I guess what I'm saying is, I don't know, you can't be too disappointed if you're a Rams fan. They have a young team. Hopefully Stafford comes back and they can, run this thing back. A lot to look forward there. But I don't want to spend too much time on the losing team. The winning team, Philadelphia, they're off to the championship game. They play a familiar foe in the Washington Commanders. And we're going to see, man. It's must-see TV. I can't wait till next week. I give the slight edge, Steven, to Philly because of their age, experience, and, of course, Saquon Barkley. But other than that, I don't think anybody wants to see this kid, Jayden Daniels, right now. I don't think anybody wants that smoke. So, hey, I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be glued to the TV.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I definitely will be glued to the TV.
It's usually a 2 beers for a game, but it might be a 3-4 beer game for Joe. This is full disclosure right now.
Exactly.
It's going to be awesome.
And I guess rounding up the last game,
yes.
the first game of the day was Baltimore and Buffalo.
Yes. The 2 potential MVP candidates, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Both of these guys had phenomenal years. Man, I'll let you go first on this one.
I think it's been a year for both teams. I think they both came out, and I think a lot of people were kind of hoping that this is, the AFC Championship game. I think both people wouldn't mind seeing both of them, either one going into the Super Bowl.
Such an exciting matchup.
Exactly. To just to have a new face in there. It just sucks that this had to be this game. What can I say? I think both teams came out and played well. I think there's just key mistakes from Baltimore that just kind of cost them the game. And I think I'll talk more about Buffalo. I guess where I think that's the biggest thing that Josh Allen has changed this year. He's not going after it. He's playing. He understands that if I turn the ball over, that gives him great field position, a point to score. And so now instead of just playing the ball and it still being like a 0-0 kind of score, I give it an opportunity of +3, +7, and that's hard to come back of, and you're just going to try to overcome, and it's kind of digs you deeper in the hole. He understands that less is more, and for me, I think that's the biggest thing that he's had this so far this year, and because definitely talent-wise on offense, he doesn't have much.
Right. Didn't have the same weapons he did in previous years.
Exactly. So I think that's the biggest thing for Buffalo is just, just not making mistakes. I think that's the biggest thing I can take away from this season from Buffalo and everything. But I'm going to let Joey kind of talk more about Baltimore. I know he's been saving it up for it, so.
I have, just because I just thought, the season that Baltimore had, Lamar Jackson, I don't know, he had over 40 touchdown passes to only 4 interceptions. Steven, he ran for over 900 yards. Then there's Derrick Henry. He had 1,900 yards rushing, almost 2,000 yards. So between 2 players, you have darn near 3,000 yards of rushing between 2 players. And look, I watched the game. I know there were fumbles and mistakes. a couple drop balls by Mark Andrews, especially the one late. It would be easy to piggyback on that and say that's why we lost. And that's definitely a factor. But what I'm really upset at, and the real reason, Raven fans, you lost this football game, is because you went away from your bread and butter. You went away from what you do good, right? LeBron always says, keep the main thing the main thing. You went away from the main thing. Run the football. Stephen, Derrick Henry had 84 yards on 16 touches. A game like today, an elimination game, not enough, my brother. Not enough. You got to get that guy to rock 25, 28 times. Then you got to let Justice Hill get a couple touches because he's dynamic and a different type of runner, as they did. But they should have kept feeding Henry. Lamar Jackson, of course, he's got to be careful with the ball, but Lamar played a pretty good game and got this team in position to win late. But I would say the biggest thing it's a head scratcher or frustrates me, and I think Baltimore fans could agree, is you just got away from the main thing today. The Bills, the defense looked pretty good. They played pretty well. Josh Allen only had like 127 passing yards today. As Steven mentioned earlier, all he did was just play safe, smart, throw short passes, not turn it over, time of possession. And it was enough to give him the W today. And I think you have this, mistake-free, less more Josh Allen going into Kansas City. It poses for another great matchup. I know Kansas City, they seem like they're in the championship game every year because they are. But I really believe that next week will be their toughest challenge. Because I think you're getting for the most part, mistake-free Josh Allen, who's really determined and focused. And he just might get past the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I don't know. That's why we watch the games. But I think it's going to be phenomenal. It's been a great football year. We got our Final Four teams. I don't know. What do you guys say? What say you? I'd love to hear your comments. I'd like to see what you think of these games, why they were won and lost, and what you like going into the championship week. What kind of Super Bowl are we going to have,
Definitely.
Yeah, but hey, thanks for joining us as always. Please subscribe to the channel. We love your support. Sniper Sports, live from the